Head baseball coach, Houston, Todd Whitting.
Yeah.
Welcome, man. How
Great
you doing?
Great to be here, man.
Coming off a
Talking about
nice
this for a while, yeah.
Yeah, we met through a mutual friend.
Correct.
We're not saying his name because then if we say his name, he's going to go crazy.
Yeah.
And he won't stop talking about it.
Then he'll want to be on the show, and then it's a whole other rabbit hole you don't want to go down.
Shows hit rock bottom if that happens.
Right.
Let's talk something very important, fashion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those blue unis, man.
Yeah. Those are
You
sweet.
guys look good in them.
Yeah, they, we're the last team in the department to kind of break those out. Everybody else kind of had their blue game, right? And we were supposed to have them against A&M last weekend. The box literally arrived the morning of the A&M game, and we got rained out that night. Didn't get to wear them, so we pushed them to last night against Arizona. But feedback's been great. You know, the Twitter feeds have gone crazy. Recruits love them. So hopefully that's something we'll be able to wear a little more often. Down the road.
So can you wear them more often? How do you finagle
From
that?
what I understand right now, the deal with the NFL with the the Oilers scheme and things like that is has to be at home against an in-state opponent. We got, I guess, a waiver on the deal last night because we didn't get to use it against A&M last week. But that right now is the thing: is it's at home against the in-state opponent, and we use it for the Big 12 games or big ones like Texas A&M.
So this is all because of the Titans. I don't.
Yeah.
They own that color for the world.
That's what everybody. That's the thing that everybody can't wrap their mind around. Of course, Eddie and our administration, they know the details of the agreements that we have with them, but. That's I'm a longtime Houstonian. Been here since 1990 when I graduated from high school, and I remember the blue cop cars and the police. The color was all over town, and all of a sudden now we can't wear it when we want to. So it's kind of odd, but hopefully as time goes by they'll relax that a little bit because it is a great look, and it's from an administration standpoint you're selling merch like crazy. And everybody's looking for that stuff right now.
So. I posted them on X, and fans were like, "Where do I buy these? Where do I buy these?"
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want 10%, Eddie, on all the sales.
Well, I do too because I'm getting hammered too in my DMs. Everybody wants those. Everybody wants that hat.
Careful banging, by the way, because what happens is it reverbs through here, and then all the viewers are like, "Have him stop banging on the table." Yeah,
right.
like why is he all mad? Okay, baseball. Much better year this year than last year, of course. Guaranteed over 500, not over 500 in the conference.
Right.
Biggest adjustment for you guys going American to Big 12 is what?
Well, I think you got the NIL battle, right? Mm-hmm. You're trying to compete with some pretty big NIL teams in the Big 12, and we make our best effort at it. I think the weekly grind. The American was a great league. We won it 5-6 times. But you had your weeks where you knew you were going to play well. Here, it's literally you're playing the same team every weekend. It's just a matter. I tell my coaches all the time, it's just a matter of who screws up the game. It's who's going to win or lose because the parity is everything is so even. And it's a great league. It's fun for me personally. Playing the Southwest Conference back when I played, to be able to have conference weekends against the Baylors, the Techs, the TCUs, the old Southwest Conference schools, that part's really cool. These kids that play for me don't understand that stuff because they weren't even born yet, but the fans do, and I do. And it's when you hook it up against those guys on the weekend, it's really special.
So how do you guys compete in the Big 12? We've talked about this on this show a lot. Houston is not a Big 12 program yet, athletic department.
Right.
The basketball team is a Big 12 program. They've won it twice now, which is crazy. Yeah. Football's trying to get there. You guys are trying to get there. Yeah. Women's basketball, softball, everything is trying to get to the Big 12 level. Right. How do you guys go about that, and how do you do that while trying to compete in the Big 12? Because it's a different league than the AAC. No disrespect to the American.
No,
this is big. This is big boy baseball.
No, it is, and it's that way across the board. And you see each of our programs getting better and better every year in the Big 12, and you see that with us this year. Much better season this year than last. We've had some big RPI games rained out, or could due to cold that we didn't get to play that would have helped us. But it's resources. Our facilities are in a pretty good place, especially in baseball. In the last 15 years, we've literally rebuilt the stadium. It's time for an upgrade. Everything that we worked hard to build, to put in the turf, the video board, everything in the stands, the stadium experience, the fan experience. It's that cycle to come back around. We got to address that. Our clubhouse down the left field line is as good as anything in college baseball. It's excellent, but we have to continue to financially, be able to stay up with the NIL, the rev share, and the amenities that we offer the players. You forget about that sometimes as well as team meals and things like that. So I know our admin's working hard. Dr. Couture's working hard on it. The university is all in on athletics. You see Kelvin, a little bit of a great coach, great program, great facilities, great NIL. Willie's getting, football's getting to that point too, and it's going to trickle down to where we start receiving some of that stuff in baseball and some of the other sports, and it's we as coaches at U of H have to get out and help do some of that stuff, and that's okay. That's how I've been since I've been there for 15 years. Is if you want something, go out and get it. And I've been tremendously blessed with unbelievable support. We have my dugout club, the supporters of the program are second to none in college baseball. Everything in that stadium that you see is for the most part privately donated. Up to millions and millions with all that we've done. So I'm super appreciative of all those people that year in, year out are there to step up and help us do what we need to do.
So with all that being said, are you pleased with where the program is right now and how you guys are performing? I know you obviously want to win the thing and you want to be better. I get that. But serious expectations and realistic expectations, how do you like where you guys are and how you finish the season going into the Big 12?
Well, no, I'm not, because I've been built for my entire career. I think I've been to 18 or 20 NCAA tournaments in my career, and I'm built for this time of year. You're trying to play to get an at-large bid, and that's what you're concerned with. When you go to these Power 4 leagues, you're trying to get in the tournament, and that bothers me, because this is a program that I expect us to be in that top 30, 40 RPI year in, year out, and fighting for one of those bids. And I will say this, being in a Power 5, Power 4 conference, the ability to do that is better. We were left out a couple of times at AAC when we should have been in, and we got jumped over by Power 4, then Power 5 teams. In 2019, we were 40 RPI, and we got jumped by a 52 and a 58. They got at-large bids. We were the first team out of the tournament. So those things you're a little more protected from, but also the competition level's higher, and it's you got to show up week in and week out.
What do you guys need to do to get better? Where do you guys need to improve?
Well, I think, obviously players, and I love my team. Depth is our thing, and that's what our frontline guys will go against anybody. We've got to get a little more top end on the pitching side, but the depth is where, when you have a couple goes down, that's where it really gets you at our place right now, and that's kind of what's happened the last couple of years. More so the previous 2 or 3, where our arms were going down like crazy. This year it's kind of hit our pitching, our offense a little bit. Connor McGinnis, my 3-hole guy, he was 3 for 4. He was a home run away from the cycle last night. We haven't had him since Central Florida, way back in the first couple of weeks of Big 12 play. That's a difference maker. Cade Climbey's out with concussion, just kind of weird deals. But, we have had some kids step up, next man up type mentality. But depth, I think, is where, that's going to be the biggest difference. We've got to continue to build on that.
Depth is the most underrated aspect in sports. Yeah. And in any sport across the board. Yeah. I went to Northwestern. Our football team, when we're healthy and playing well, we can kind of compete with almost anybody. Yeah. We get one injury, forget about it. We're not plugging in another 4-star. Yeah. We're going from 3-star to 1-star, or walk-on guy trying to coach them up. And the depth is so critical. Going into the Big 12 tournament, how do you guys feel about your odds? Because you got to win to get in. Is that kind of where you guys sit right now?
We're at the point now we got to win to get in. It's we've changed it to a single elimination tournament this year. The SEC has also gone to the same format. I actually like that format.
Why?
I think it favors us, because our pitching depth of the frontline guys is a little thin right now. But we do have a couple of starters who are real guys, and we have the best reliever in college baseball right now, in Antoine John. So if we can use him a couple of times, hit our way through a couple, like I said, the league is so even. Anybody can win that tournament. There's 12 out of 14 teams go. And there's not one team that you can say, they're not going to win it, or hey, they're a lock to win this thing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our kids are excited. We can't wait to get up there.
So how do you approach an NCAA basketball style tournament like this, win or go home? Do you just throw every arm you got out there? Is every day's must win? You got to blow it all out.
We've kind of been in that mentality, and you're always kind of in that mentality this time of year, because you're either qualifying, you're trying to play to get in the conference tournament, or you're playing to get in the NCAA tournament. So every game. That's the thing I don't think people understand about college baseball. 1 through 56, they all matter. There is no preseason, there is no exhibition games. There's no game on your schedule that doesn't help or hurt you. So you kind of approach that mentality throughout the whole year. But the kids know what's on the line. You don't have to tell them, and it's the speeches and things like that. We're way past that, and that's what I'm pleased with our team, because we've played really well the last couple of weeks. We've won a couple of Big 12 series. We've done a few things, and you can see now the team is kind of where they're team-led instead of coach-fed, and that's where this time of year you want to be able to, okay, you guys go play the game. Practices are mine, the games are yours. And this team, with all the new players we have, especially on offense, has kind of taken over that mode.
When I had Eddie on the show, we talked about the impact of the Final Four run, national championship run for the basketball team. And the impact it has on the school. It's like $400 million worth of of marketing was valued in that run. Do you guys see that? Do you guys feel that impact, or is that so far down the line that you guys don't feel it right now? Like, how's that help?
Well, that's more university standpoint.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of 2 places where the athletics have really boosted the academic profile, I think, of the school. TCU being number 1. When I was up there in 2003, that was right when they were getting ready to go on their run with Coach Patterson in football. And all of a sudden, we get really good in baseball, and all of a sudden TCU becomes a really popular place. You're seeing that now with the thing that's, it goes back to the Peach Bowl a couple of years ago and some success we had in football. Obviously, Kelvin's success. A couple of years ago, we win the LSU Regional. We're playing on ESPN on a Monday night. We're the only team in the country playing on ESPN that day, and there's millions of people watching. So it's just good for your university. And when you do have success like that, and what I found at Houston is, you're successful inside the state and inside the city, but you can go nationwide, and everybody knows about Cougar Athletics right now, especially because of Kelvin and what they're doing in basketball. And it helps. And if you look at my roster, we have a nationwide roster. And are there great players in Houston? Absolutely there are. And you could everybody. I get told all the time, well, if you just recruit Houston, you can go to Omaha. Well, that's what everybody else says too.
Yeah.
And you got Texas and Baylor and A&M and Arkansas and LSU and everybody else is in here as well. But and the way our scholarships work too, we can go get academic kids a little cheaper sometimes than we can in state. So that piece, being able to go out of state and get great players, has been huge for us.
The way college athletics is built today, no athletic department is going to be great without a great football program. It's just
correct.
Every decision is made by football. That's where all the real money is.
Should be, yep.
So how much would it mean to you guys to get football rolling?
It's everything to you. And like I said, I lived that at TCU with Coach Patterson and the success they had with the Rose Bowls and the runs that they went on. And we've had it here at times. When Coach Herman was here, Dana, Willie's got great things ahead for him. It does send a huge message. And what Kelvin's doing in basketball obviously has been massive for our university. But when Willie gets football going like he will, that's even bigger for you because our country's built around college football, NFL and college football. That's what everybody loves.
I know you've been to the college. Well, you've been to the NCAA tournament a whole bunch. Have you been to Omaha?
2010 with TCU.
What's that time like? And what would it mean for you guys to get there?
It's one of those things. It's like you work for it your whole life, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking about it. And Father's Day in Omaha with your kid throwing BP on your practice day, there's no better day. And it's one of those things in life that from a young kid, that's your goal, is to play in Omaha. For me, it was to play or coach in Omaha. And when I finally got to do that in 2010, it's everything you expect. A lot of things in life aren't. You look forward to this, you look forward to this trip, this experience. You're like, it's okay. No, Omaha's real. And it has got to be as good a NCAA championship experience as there is out there. I'll put it up there at the Final Four football championships because it's just the city of Omaha is amazing. The stadium is amazing. And just the atmosphere and the people there it's really cool. It's unbelievable.
I've never been, and it's one of those things where I don't think you'll never appreciate it on TV or social media the way you would if you were there. And I liken it to when I covered the Frozen Four years ago in Minneapolis, the state of hockey. It was the coolest atmosphere ever.
It is.
And you feel like you're in the center of the universe.
And what you'll find is when we get there, we'll be the favorite because we haven't been since '67, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what happened to us back when I was at TCU. Is like everybody in Omaha was cheering for us. Now we eliminated Texas to get there, so they really liked us. But it was so much fun. The experience is unreal, and it's something that it was a career goal for me. Obviously, the main was to win a national champ, and also to get my alma mater there. That's the ultimate goal, is to get the University of Houston to Omaha.
What would it mean to you to get there with this team?
It's just, I feel like that I represent everybody that's the past players, the former players, all the guys I've coached. I mean, you're talking about I've been there 28 years as a player and a coach there. So I'm in touch and know just about every single player that's ever played at the University of Houston. So, I tell those guys at alumni events all the time, I'm no different than they are. I'm just the one lucky enough to get to coach the team. So I do feel like every time we play, I represent every one of those guys, my teammates, my former players, all the people that support our program and the city of Houston. So it would be an unbelievable goal for us to finally achieve it.
If this judge ever hands down her ruling.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah.
Like, when is this going to happen, for gosh sakes? You guys will get revenue sharing up to $20.5 million.
Correct.
What would that do for you guys? Will it help y'all, or will it just flat out even the playing field across the Big 12? Like, what will it do?
Every school can divvy it out how they want. Okay,
so it's up to Eddie.
Exactly. Yeah. Eddie's got the knife and he's cutting up the cake. But obviously football and basketball are getting the bulk, and that's how it should be because those are the two sports that drive everything. Our share is very fair. I think I have the ability to go stack some NIL on top of that. You can still do some third-party NIL, but we're still not exactly sure what that's going to look like. We will go to a 34-man roster at some point, which is supposedly starting this year, which changes things a little bit. They haven't told us how many we can bring in fall practice yet, whether it's going to be unlimited or 40 or 38. There's so many unknowns. Kids coming and getting ready to come to school this summer, on baseball scholarship, we don't know really still what we have and how this is all going to shake out. I have a good idea, and if things proceed like I think they're going to, then I know exactly what we have. But if the ruling doesn't go this way, if it goes this way or that way, we could revert right back to grandfather to 11.7 and 40 guys like we have been. So that's what we don't know, and it's tough for kids right now too, especially high school kids with the transfer portal, the reduced roster. The high school kids are not getting the same opportunities they had at one point.
During the NCAA tournament, we saw all the 1 seeds in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. And the gap, as I saw it, between the 1 and the 2s and the 3s was bigger than the 3s and the 12s. Like the 3s and 12s were closer than the 1s and the 3s were because it's so top-heavy now.
Right.
The NIL is such a difference maker for the elites of the elites.
Oh, yeah.
For you guys, I imagine it's even worse in that world because the elites of the elites, there's even fewer of them, and the dollars in baseball is way less than what there is in college basketball or football. So someone like you that is trying to compete in the Big 12 with such a small number financially, is it even harder to get to the top because where the money, like LSU or Clemson or whoever it might be, has just so much more money than you guys, even compared to basketball?
Yeah, and I'm not an excuse maker, and I think I can.
But it is what it is, and I'll make it for y'all.
And I to me, I've always been in developmental places. When I got to TCU, when I was at Houston before, we were a developmental school. We're not getting the best kids. We develop and coach. We put your hat and your whistle on, you go coach them up. And TCU was that way in my early days, and this continues to be that place today. However, you can go right through down to Big 12 standings, and because I know pretty much the NIL of all the teams in our league, and it almost goes in order of who has the money, where the money's at. And we've played teams this year that are $3-4 million teams. I mean, literally in baseball. And what you see some teams do, which is smart, Texas Tech, I think softball's doing the same thing, where they have the big-time NIL pitcher and they're winning like crazy. Where A&M did it last year and almost won a national championship, where you take sports sometimes where you think you can win a natty and you put a bunch of money in there, non-football basketball, and that's what you see some of these teams, some of these schools doing as well. But there is a disparity, and that what you're seeing is the haves and the have-nots is really getting separated in every sport. You see. Yeah, you've seen the stuff I've seen on Twitter lately on the basketball schools and who's got the $8 million and the $10 million, and it's like wow, that, and then you got these other schools trying to compete with that. It's going to be tough, and football's the same way. Now, I think once we get past this year, because the way things are now, the money that's in the collectives right now can be spent before July 1. So you see a lot of schools front-ending some football, some basketball programs, and then they'll do some stuff on the back end with the rev share. So I think you'll see some of these massive NIL numbers come down after this next season. But like you said, it all depends on how this ruling goes.
Well, do you guys, for NIL, the conversations you have with athletes, how's that changed over the years? You've been in this game for a long time.
Well, what's changed is even being able to have the conversation, because at first you couldn't have the conversation. Somebody kind of had to have it for you, and it's just a moving target all the time. So I do know we've gone against teams in our league this past summer where we'll offer X, and they're doubling us up all over the place. And it's like, if we could just get it back to somewhat, the same, I think you'll see sports get a lot better, and especially in the all across the board.
I know it's your alma mater, and I know you've been here a long time. I know you live here forever, and you love it.
Yeah.
But when you are at such a disadvantage, do you think about leaving? Like, would you want to leave so that you can go play with some more cash?
No, I've had those opportunities. I interviewed at a bunch of Power 5 schools in the past. I've turned some of them down. People thought I was crazy, but I think we can do it here. I really do, and I believe in this place and what we're doing, and I put so much time into it that really, for me to leave, it would be I want to get that thing done first, which is get to Omaha and try to play for a national championship. That's deep down to me that's really what needs to happen.
Why college ball over pro ball?
It all depends on how you come up. Typically, to be in pro ball, you have to play pro ball. Mm-hmm. And if I could run, hit, or thrown when I played, I might have had that opportunity, but I couldn't do any of it. And I was given an amazing opportunity by Coach Noble. Literally, the year after I finished playing, I was 22 years old as an assistant coach under Coach Noble and his staff. And a lot of it was because nobody would take the job because it paid like $15,000 a year. But it was a shot. It was an opportunity. And I'm forever thankful for him for giving me that chance. Back in I think it was 1997 when I first came on as assistant at Houston. And but I knew I wanted to be a college baseball coach my whole life. I grew up watching Omaha in the summer times and all those great teams, Wichita State and Texas. Remember them battling out in Miami and LSU and all those teams they had that were there every year. And I just knew that's what I wanted to do.
I covered Wichita State. I lived out there for a while. Mm-hmm. That program, when it gets rocking, if it does ever again, I don't know. But when Stevenson was there, it was a special place.
Well, he built that thing out of a cornfield. Everything there was, and that place is similar to this one, how this one was years ago, where, if you build it, they'll come. And we had the tremendous gift from John Moores back in the early 90s that built our stadium and our athletic department. And, you see the program getting better and better, really since 1995 is when we really kicked it and became a big-time player on the Division I baseball level.
How do you view Rice? Do you view them as a big rivalry? Because they're not very good right now. They used to be great. Mm-hmm. You lived through all that. How do you view Rice?
Well, it was a big rivalry when Wayne was kicking our butt every year for some reason, but it's a huge rivalry, and it's two universities in town. It'll pick up a little bit with Coach Pierce being over there now. He's a great friend of mine. We actually coached at U of H together for a year. He's a U of H alum. He played at the University of Houston. So that it's maybe something. It's been a little stale last couple of years because we've won it. But nobody thought that when they were winning it for 15. I don't know how many years in a row they won that thing. But I think when I got back here, they'd won it. It was like 15, 16 years in a row that we didn't come close to getting that trophy. They were on dynasty level then, and then, but we had some good teams against them back, before I went to TCU. We played them in a super regional at Rice one year. They won the national championship. So it was fun when Coach Graham was there. It was because he's so good. He's one of the greatest of all time, and getting to coach against him, you learn a lot. And I've got stories. We don't have to go into them now.
Stories are great.
He tricked me a couple of times, but
so what does that look like at a college baseball level? Like, what does that look like?
Well, he got me one time. I'll never forget this. He got me twice, and one time I was really young, and one of the Thames kids was at home plate, and he had squared the bunt, and Wayne just lost his mind. I mean, just absolutely went nuts on him. And I'm like, I whistle out there to the third baseman. You can go and back on off now. Guess what he does in the next pitch? Boom, lays down a bunt. He's safe. And he just kind of looked at me and grinned. And he's the ultimate poker player. And he kind of did the same thing to us. They beat us in the championship game of the Conference USA tournament my first year here. We had just an okay team, but we were able to get the championship game and had a lead on them late, actually. Had we not made a couple errors, we'd have won the tournament and got the auto bid to the tournament that year, the NCAAs. And he did the same thing with Craig Manuel. Craig still lives here in town, and something about a slash or a bunt. It's been 15 years ago, but I'm like, there's no way he yelled at him. It's the exact same thing. Yelled at him for doing something and then had him do it, and they score a couple runs. And I'm like, I'm never looking at him again or listening to him. But he was good. He was a master at the mental game before people knew what mental game training was. You learn a lot when you sit across the field from guys like him, Augie Garrido. I still send the team and talk to the team a lot about some of the things that Augie did. I actually just sent him a video the other day that one of Augie's post-game speeches that he gave that was phenomenal. But then you go down that road. There's so many great coaches. I've been unbelievably fortunate to be able to be on the other side against those guys, and you're crazy not to sit and watch what they do, and when you get a chance to, before game BP to visit with them and kind of see how they do things.
Is that the notorious Augie video where he just lights his team up?
Not that one, but there's another one that's pretty close to that one. And actually my assistant coach, Clay Van Hook, was in both those meetings, and the one you're talking about, he's yelling at Clay.
Does he have to go to therapy?
He still talks about it all the time, but he wouldn't have traded anything playing for Augie. It was a tremendous experience for him.
I know you know a lot of people at Rice, so your friends. Do you want them to be good though, or do you just want to be better than you're relevant but not good?
Well, I want to beat them. I know that, but David will get it going. You've already seen a little change in there, and Jose was a great friend of mine. I've known Jose for years. His brother Enrique is a really good friend of mine. My son actually played for Enrique in Coogs baseball. Who my son ended up playing a little bit of college baseball, and I really credit all that to Enrique and the Coogs family. And Papa Coogs is out there at all the games, and he kind of took to Matt a little bit. So, yeah, I wish nothing but the best for the Coogs family. They're awesome. But you've seen David. He's already got a little more new coach energy in there, and he's been to Omaha a bunch of times, had a ton of success, and he'll get that thing going.
Who's your guys' biggest rival in your building? Who do you view it as? Not for the fans.
Rice means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I think just because I've been since so many years, playing against those guys. But anytime you strap it on against Texas and A&M, obviously the fan base, that's theirs.
So it wouldn't even be like a Big 12 school at this point because you're so new? It would be A&M?
Baylor. It's one of them too. Yeah, it's I've had a lot of great battles with Baylor between being at Houston and being at TCU, them being kind of like institutions. Texas Tech, I would say, probably for me within the league, I would probably say Tech, just because of the great battles we've had over the years. But it's really hard to even put them in order because they're all so huge. Playing Tech, playing TCU, playing Baylor, playing those in-state Big 12 schools is pretty cool.
What have you noticed about Eddie, new athletic director coming in? A lot of change, a lot of just observing. Like, what have you seen from him?
Yeah, I think he's in observation mode right now still. I think he's evaluating everything top to bottom. He's behind closed doors a little bit now, I think, trying to get his plan together, kind of what he's going to do. Just brought in Dave Williams as his right-hand guy. I think there are a lot of talks. I think his main focus and goal right now is the big picture because, like we were talking before the broadcast, the more things you can do to make everything around the teams better, the teams are going to elevate, which is corporate sponsorships, it's money, getting your rev share rights, academics, everything for the players, the meals, the travel, all those type of things. When everything surrounding a team is good, you want to have you don't want to have a winning team, you want to have a winning program, which means year in year out you're very consistent. You don't want to have a good team this year and then you tank the next year. You want some consistency, and I think he's trying to build a solid foundation for all of us to build on right now.
No matter the industry. Here's no different. When the new boss comes in, everyone's looking around like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your first thought? Like, do you get nervous? What do you do?
Well, he came from New Mexico, and one of my great friends is Ray Birmingham, who's a longtime baseball coach at New Mexico, and Ray's a guy I've talked to over the years as a mentor. He's retired now, and the first thing I did when I heard Eddie's name come up was call Ray, and Ray was a ringing endorsement for Eddie, the way he runs things, and he's up front, he's honest, he's not going to BS you. You're going to get the truth out of him at all times, and that's exactly what I found with Eddie. And he and I've had some great meetings, since he got the job, and I have full faith that he's going to get us where we need to go.
Well, man, start with the Big 12 tournament this week, huh?
That's right. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Go win the whole thing, but most importantly, look good in those blues. Let's get those blues back on the field.
I'm campaigning. I'm actually working with Eddie, and I'm like, hey, man, can we wear those things to the Big 12 tournament game one? Because, we had double-digit runs and hits last night, so there's something to those things.
I love it, man. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in.
I appreciate you.
Guys, like, click, subscribe. Do the whole thing you got to do to please the algorithm. Appreciate y'all. See y'all next week.
Go Coogs.